American rescues took in 400 parrots from one Florida shelter last year. Almost none for biting surrendered because a store never mentioned this bird would outlive a mortgage. Nobody explained that. Stores sell the bird, not the decades after. These 13 birds, sold from that Florida mall to Pacific Northwest apartments, each looked charming on day 1 and became the reason they were rehomed by year 3. By the end, you will know which are worth it and which 4 nobody considers. Before bird number 1, drop your favorite pet bird in the comments right now. Bird number 1, the African gray parrot, is prized for a level of vocal mimicry and problem-solving that rivals a small child, which is exactly why so many owners underestimate what they are signing up for. Native to the rainforests of West and Central Africa, African grays are now among the most commonly surrendered parrots in American rescue networks, from Florida to California. Cornell Lab-affiliated research on African gray cognition has documented individual birds using over 100 English words in functionally correct context. Research published through comparative cognition studies, echoed by avian behaviorists at major U.S. universities, has documented African grays performing on par with 4- and 5-year-old children in certain reasoning tasks. This intelligence matters because a bored African gray does not just sit quietly, it self-mutilates, screams for hours, or fixates on a single stress behavior pattern. Over years of understimulation, this compounds into chronic feather plucking that avian vets say is extremely difficult to reverse. The common myth is that a quiet, calm African gray is simply a naturally mellow bird. The correction, according to avian behavior specialists, is that a consistently quiet gray is far more often a stressed or under-enriched one. For all its brilliance, the African gray's intelligence is precisely why it tops so many regret lists, since the same mind that mimics speech also demands hours of daily engagement most households cannot sustain. Bird number 2 takes a completely different approach, one that makes it just as dangerous in its own right. Somewhere in this list is the bird that pushed a rescue organization to change its entire adoption screening process. You will not find out which one until we get there. Bird number 2, the umbrella cockatoo, bonds so intensely with a single person that it can scream continuously for hours the moment that person leaves the room. Native to Indonesia, but now one of the most surrendered large parrots in American households, this cockatoo can live 70 years or more, easily outlasting several life stages of its owner. Its scream has been measured at volumes comparable to a chainsaw at close range, loud enough to violate noise ordinances in some U.S. apartment buildings. The Merck Veterinary Manual identifies chronic feather, destructive behavior as one of the most common presenting complaints in captive cockatoos brought to avian vets. This matters because the behavior is rarely just cosmetic. It frequently signals an underlying stress response tied to insufficient social interaction or an inconsistent daily routine, left unaddressed for years. This pattern can escalate into self-inflicted skin wounds, requiring veterinary intervention. The common myth is that cockatoos are simply affectionate, cuddly birds that thrive on constant handling. The correction, according to avian behaviorists, is that this same neediness becomes a serious liability the moment a schedule changes or a new person enters the home. The umbrella cockatoo's affection is real, but so is its capacity to become dangerously dependent on one specific person in the house. Have you ever seen a cockatoo up close? Tell me where, right below. Bird number 3, the blue and gold macaw, is one of the most visually striking parrots sold in the United States, and also one of the most expensive long-term commitments in the pet bird world. Native to South American forest and savanna regions, this macaw can live up to 60 years in captivity, meaning a bird bought for a child could realistically outlive its original owner. Its beak generates bite force strong enough to crack a Brazil nutshell in seconds. Avian veterinary literature, including guidance referenced by the Association of Avian Veterinarians, documents lifetime care costs for large macaws that frequently exceed the original purchase price within just a few years of cage, diet, and vet expenses. This matters because many buyers budget for the bird itself, but not for the enclosure size, enrichment toys, or specialized diet a macaw actually requires. Over years of underestimating this, owners often fall behind on veterinary care, allowing preventable conditions to progress untreated. The common myth is that a large cage and a few toys are enough to keep a macaw content. The correction, per avian behaviorists, is that macaws need hours of active out, of cage time daily, or they develop serious behavioral decline. The blue and gold macaw's beauty draws buyers in, but it is the decades-long cost and space commitment that quietly drives so many into rescue networks. Bird number 4 does something none of the birds before it attempted. Bird number 4, the sun conure, trades size for sheer volume, producing a piercing repetitive call that carries through apartment walls with ease. Native to northeastern South America, this small, vividly colored parakeet is frequently marketed as a beginner bird because of its compact size. Its call has been measured at roughly 120 decibels at close range, comparable to a smoke alarm. Documented behavioral studies on Conure species note that this repetitive daily vocalization is a natural flock contact call, not a sign of distress on its own. This matters because owners in shared housing often cannot legally or practically tolerate the noise once the bird reaches maturity. Over time, this mismatch leads to conures being kept in back rooms or covered cages for hours to suppress calling, which in turn increases stress-related behaviors. The common myth is that small birds are automatically quiet, low-maintenance starter pets. The correction, confirmed by avian behaviorists, is that sun conures are frequently louder per body size than birds 3 times their weight. The sun conure proves that size has nothing to do with how much a bird can disrupt a household, and that mismatch is exactly what drives its high surrender rate. Bird number 5 solves the same problem in a completely different way, trading volume for outright legal restriction instead. Bird number 5, the Quaker parakeet, is one of the only pet birds in America that some states will not legally allow you to own at all. Native to temperate South America, Quakers build large communal stick nests, unlike almost any other parrot species, an instinct that persists even indoors. This nest-building drive is so strong that escaped or released Quakers have formed self-sustaining wild colonies in several U.S. states. State agricultural and wildlife agencies in places, including California and Pennsylvania, restrict or ban Quaker parakeet ownership, specifically because of documented feral colonies threatening agricultural crops. This matters because a buyer can purchase a Quaker in one state, move to another, and unknowingly become non-compliant with local law. Over time, this has led to confiscations and forced rehoming in states with active bans. The common myth is that legality of exotic pet birds is federally standardized across the country. The correction is that pet bird law in the United States is set state by state, sometimes county by county. The Quaker parakeet's regret factor has little to do with temperament and everything to do with paperwork. Most buyers never check beforehand. Drop your favorite bird from this list in the comments. Right now, I read every one. Bird number 6, the Lovebird, is small enough to fit in one hand and aggressive enough to draw blood from the person holding it. Native to the forests and savannas of sub-Saharan Africa, lovebirds are fiercely territorial despite their tiny size and affectionate reputation. A single unpaired lovebird can become intensely possessive of one person, attacking hands, other pets, or even other birds that come near. Avian behavior research documents lovebirds as one of the most consistently aggressive small parrot species toward both humans and other birds in mixed households. This matters because their small size leads many buyers to assume the bird poses little real risk, especially around children. Over months of unaddressed territorial behavior, bites can escalate in frequency and severity as the bird matures. The common myth is that lovebirds need to be kept in bonded pairs to be happy. The correction, per Avian behaviorists, is that a poorly matched pair can fight violently, sometimes fatally, rather than bond at all. The lovebird's small frame hides one of the most territorial temperaments in the pet bird world, which is exactly what surprises so many first-time owners. Bird number 7 takes a completely different approach, one that makes it just as dangerous in its own right. Bird number 7, the Amazon parrot, can be a calm, affectionate companion for 11 months of the year, and an unpredictable biter for one native to Central and South America. Amazons are known for a distinct hormonal breeding season, during which typically friendly birds become reactive and territorial. During this window, even a bird handled daily for years may suddenly bite its longtime owner without warning. Avian veterinary behavior literature describes seasonal hormonal aggression in Amazon parrots as a well-documented recurring pattern tied to daylight length and breeding cues. This matters because owners unfamiliar with the pattern often interpret sudden biting as a personality change or a training failure on their part. Over repeated seasons, unmanaged hormonal aggression can damage the human-bird bond permanently, leading to long-term rehoming. The common myth is that a previously gentle Amazon has simply become mean or untrainable. The correction, according to avian behaviorists, is that this is a temporary seasonal state that specific handling adjustments can manage. The Amazon parrot proves that even a well-socialized bird can become unpredictable on a seasonal cycle most owners never see coming. Bird number 8 does something none of the birds before it attempted. At a Florida avian rescue in the early 2010s, a volunteer opened an intake cage, expecting a routine surrender, and instead found a Moluccan cockatoo that had chewed through its own perch overnight from separation stress. The rescue's own case notes described a bird so bonded to its previous owner that it refused food for nearly 2 days after arrival. What most visitors did not know was that this level of attachment is not rare among large cockatoos. It is closer to the norm, and it is precisely why so many end up back in rescue care within a few years of adoption. Documented case records from us avian rescue organizations describe this same pattern repeating across hundreds of surrendered cockatoos every year. 6 birds remain on this list, including 4 that almost nobody considers, and one of them may already be sitting quietly in your own home. Bird number 8, the ringneck parakeet, drifts through a biting adolescent phase so consistent that avian vets in the US sometimes warn new owners about it by name. Native to parts of Africa and South Asia, ringnecks are prized for clear speech mimicry, but pass through a hormonal maturity stage around 6 months to 2 years old. During this period, a previously hand-tamed bird can bite hard enough to break skin without clear provocation. Avian behavior specialists describe this juvenile aggression phase in ringnecks as one of the most predictable developmental stages across parrot species, comparable to a temporary hormonal surge. This matters because many first-time owners interpret the sudden biting as proof they chose the wrong bird and give up during this exact window. Over the following months, if handling is paused entirely out of fear, the bird can become permanently harder to re-socialize. The common myth is that a biting ringneck has been mishandled or poorly trained. The correction, confirmed by avian behaviorists, is that this phase resolves in most birds with calm, consistent handling through it. The ringneck parakeet's regret factor is almost entirely timing, since owners who give up during the bite phase miss the calmer bird that follows it. Have you ever seen a ringneck up close? Tell me where. Right below. Bird number 9, the Moluccan cockatoo, forms one of the deepest single-person bonds of any parrot species, which is exactly what makes it one of the hardest birds to responsibly rehome. Native to Indonesia's Maluku Islands, this cockatoo can live 60 to 70 years, longer than most owners' remaining lifespan. Its scream can exceed 130 decibels, among the loudest of any commonly kept pet bird. U.S. avian rescue data, echoed by organizations tracking large parrot surrenders, consistently ranks Moluccan cockatoos among the most frequently rehomed large parrot species nationwide. This matters because each rehoming event is genuinely traumatic for a bird this deeply bonded, often triggering the plucking and screaming that then makes the next placement harder still. Over repeated rehomings, some Moluccans become effectively unadoptable outside of specialized sanctuary care. The common myth is that a loving, attentive owner can prevent a Moluccan from ever being surrendered. The correction is that life circumstances, not love, are the leading documented cause of these surrenders. The Moluccan cockatoo closes out the regret list as the clearest example of a bird whose devotion becomes its own liability across a human lifetime. Did you already know this about the Moluccan cockatoo? Be honest in the comments. Bird number 10, the Senegal parrot, solves nearly every problem on this list at once by trading size, volume, and lifespan extremes for a genuinely manageable companion bird. Native to West Africa's savanna woodlands, Senegals reach only about 9 inches in length, yet display the same problem-solving intelligence. Their vocalizations remain well within normal household volume, rarely drawing complaints even in shared housing. Avian behavior specialists frequently cite Senegal parrots as one of the most underrated companion parrots in the U.S. pet trade, largely due to their quieter default temperament. This matters because a quieter, smaller bird still needs the same daily mental stimulation as its louder cousins, just without the same noise. Driven surrender risk. Over time, a well-enriched Senegal tends to form a stable, long-term bond without the extreme dependency seen in cockatoos. The common myth is that quieter birds are automatically less intelligent or engaging. The correction, per avian behaviorists, is that Senegals rank among the more cognitively capable small parrots kept as pets. The Senegal parrot is proof that a genuinely rewarding companion bird does not require a 70-year commitment or a chainsaw-level scream. Bird number 11 solves the same problem in a completely different way, trading vocal volume for an even calmer baseline temperament instead. Bird number 11, the Pionus parrot, carries a reputation among avian vets as one of the calmest medium-sized parrots available in the U.S. pet trade. Native to Central and South American forests, Pionus species display a notably lower volume, lower drama temperament than most parrots their size. Their resting vocal register stays quiet enough that many owners describe them as the closest thing to a low-maintenance parrot that still bonds deeply. Documented behavioral observations from avian veterinary sources consistently describe Pionus parrots as less prone to the biting and screaming phases common in similarly sized species. This matters because buyers seeking a medium parrot often default to louder, more aggressive species simply because they are more heavily marketed and more visible online. Over time, this overlooked calm temperament has made Pionus parrots a favorite recommendation among avian rescues for first-time medium parrot owners. The common myth is that a calmer bird must be less socially engaged or less bonded to its owner. The correction is that Pionus parrots form steady, affectionate bonds without the volatile highs and lows of other species. The Pionus parrot rarely trends online, and that is precisely why so many owners overlook one of the steadiest medium parrots available. Drop your favorite bird from this list in the comments right now. I read every one. Bird number 12, the Bourke's parakeet, is soft-spoken enough that most apartment neighbors would never know it lives next door. Native to the arid interior of Australia, Bourke's parakeets evolved a naturally soft warbling call suited to sparse desert habitat rather than dense flock competition. This quiet default makes them one of the least noise complaint-prone parakeets kept in U.S. homes. Australian aviculture research on Bourke's parakeets consistently notes their unusually gentle, non-confrontational temperament, compared to most parakeet species. This matters because gentler birds are frequently passed over by buyers seeking a more visibly interactive pet, despite being far easier to care for long-term. Over time, this quiet temperament has made Bourke's parakeets a favorite starter recommendation among breeders focused on beginner, appropriate companion birds. The common myth is that a soft-spoken bird will be distant or uninteresting as a companion. The correction is that Bourke's parakeets bond closely through quiet proximity rather than loud interaction. The Bourke's parakeet proves that a rewarding companion bird does not need volume or drama to build a genuine daily bond. Bird number 13 does something none of the birds before it attempted. Bird number 13, the green-cheeked conure, closes this list by offering nearly everything buyers wanted from the louder birds above, just scaled down to a manageable level. Native to South American forest regions, this small conure carries a notably softer voice than its sun conure relative, while still displaying the same playful, curious personality. Its compact size makes it one of the more apartment-realistic parrots covered in this entire video. Avian behavior sources note that green-cheeked conures produce significantly lower peak volume than sun conures, despite belonging to a closely related group of species. This matters because buyers drawn to conure personality traits can choose this species specifically to avoid the noise-driven surrender risk seen earlier in this list. Over time, socialized green-cheeked conures tend to form playful, stable bonds without the volatility of larger cockatoos or macaws. The common myth is that all conure species are equally loud regardless of which one you choose. The correction is that call intensity varies significantly by species within the conure family. The green-cheeked conure rounds out this list as proof that the right species choice within a family of birds can eliminate most of the regret seen further up. That is all, 13 birds. And the pattern behind every regretted purchase on this list comes down to the same overlooked mismatch between marketing and real daily care. Beyond the 13 birds already covered, a few additional documented facts deserve a mention before this video wraps. Cornell lab research notes that cockatiels, though not covered above, remain one of the least surrendered parrot species in the US, largely due to their moderate size and social needs. Documented Audubon field data also shows that wild parrot populations, including several Amazon species, are declining across parts of their native range due to habitat loss and the pet trade combined. One more honest limitation worth stating plainly: no single list can predict how an individual bird will behave, since documented temperament trends describe populations, not guarantees for any one pet. Every species covered here can thrive in the right home, and every species can struggle in the wrong one, which is exactly the mismatch this video has tried to map out. You just got documented, research-backed bird facts most channels never bother verifying. That's what every video here delivers. Subscribe and turn on the bell. 13 birds, one pattern. The birds people regret are almost never the ones with a genuine temperament problem. They're the ones bought without understanding their real daily needs. The 4 birds nobody considers prove that a rewarding companion bird does not require a chainsaw scream or a 70-year commitment. If this changed how you think about bringing a bird into your home, the most useful next step is research before you buy, not after. The Bird's Garden posts documented, research-backed bird content every week. Subscribe so the next one finds you.